4 inmates escaped from Orleans Parish Jail. Minimum security, they said. But when you look at who they were and what they were charged with, oh, there was nothing minimum about any of it. Welcome to KimaraReacts. Please hit the like button and subscribe. And let's talk about the conditions, the chaos, and that press conference mess. Because someone's been playing games with our safety and our tax dollars.
Ready or not? Ready or not? Here I come. Can't hide. Gonna find you and then yo. I play my enemies like a game of chess where I rest. No stress, no success.
This is a public safety issue, and we all need to continue to work together to solve it, to get these folks back in custody. And we are doing that. All of our energy at OPSO is going towards getting these folks back into custody and finding out exactly what happened. It's a fluid situation. When we're aiming to respond to all media inquiries as quickly as we can possibly do that, but I still have to investigate it, and the integrity of the investigation has to stand. We do acknowledge there is no way people can get out of this facility without there being some type of lapse in security. There's no way. It's almost impossible, not completely, but almost impossible for anybody to get out of this facility without help from the outside. We intend to find out exactly what happened. We know that, I want to say that we know that folks are normally locked down in this facility at 10:30 p.m., but these folks that were able to get out did so because of defective locks on the cells. I have talked about those locks since I got into office. I wrote a letter to the consent decree judge, to the city council, and everybody else who would listen. And every time I go to budget, I say the exact same thing. When you all covered our millage, I said the exact same thing. There are deficiencies in these facilities that cause public safety concerns. That's why the millage was so important. We'll get into that a little bit more as we move forward. I need to confirm that Kendall Miles is in custody. He is being rebooked for simple escape as well. OPSO deputies found him hiding beneath the car at the Hotel Monteleone parking garage, and he was transported to OJC by the Louisiana State Police. We also need to acknowledge that Keith Lewis, who's previously reported as an escaped detainee, was in a different cell. So he had been moved, but it had not been updated. So he is not on the run. There were 10, not 11, and he is in our facility and did not try to escape. The remaining individuals are being actively pursued, and our deputies, in collaboration with local and state law enforcement, are working tirelessly to locate and return them to custody. Now we're going to try and go through a little bit of the timeline of events, because what's being reported out there isn't accurate. What we noticed is that the detainees began yanking on a cell to pull it off track. These are the cells that we keep telling that we need to replace at great cost in this facility. They were able to break, that was around 12:23 a.m. They were able to break open a door. There was a corrections monitoring technician in the pod module to be watching that. They were still able to exit the jail about 1:01 a.m. after breaching a wall behind a toilet in the jail. And based on video surveillance, they were seen exiting a door on the docks where we normally bring in supplies, scaling a wall, and running across the interstate shortly thereafter. We have indication that these detainees received assistance in their escape from individuals inside of our department, and the escape was discovered during a routine head count at 8:30 a.m. this morning. The deputy who was on duty promptly notified jail leadership, and around probably before 9:30, we notified the United States Marshals Task Force, which includes all of our partners in the area, and that was before 9:30, about the incident. I found out myself about 9 o'clock and was on my way to the jail and moving through it. About that time, The exact time I can't give you, but it was before 9:30. I asked our personnel, have we notified NOPD? Have we notified our partners? I was told yes, the task force was notified. And then we were also able to discern that the NOPD was also notified through the Fusion Center. Now, when this went down, our first concern is to find out who these folks are, confirm, and then we've got to lock down the whole jail and find out, make sure nobody else is missing. That's the first thing we have to do. We also have people being moved out to court. We've got to confirm who those are. So this is a fluid situation as we're trying to get a handle on 1,400 people in this facility. So it was a fluid situation. We're still gathering information. We are investigating our own to find out exactly what happened and where those lapses were. But there were supervisors on duty. There were lower level folks on duty, and they all had a job to do. And we're going to find out exactly what happened.
So, here's what happened. 10 inmates managed to escape from the Orleans Parish Justice Center, supposedly a low-security facility. One was facing armed robbery charges. Another one had serious prior offenses. These weren't pickpockets and potheads. They were dangerous. And somehow, they just walked out.
And regarding funding and, of course, underfunding and underpaid, this really kind of got explosive.
Agencies about this estate where yeah, absolutely. I mean, we heard the sheriff basically defending what they did with limited resources and that they didn't have enough to do a general maintenance contract to be able to keep these cells from being broken through and to be able to also have a proper staffing to monitor these pods, and that they had this one civilian monitor who left to go on a break when all of this happened. And of course, it seems that these individuals knew that that was when that monitor was going to go on the break. When the monitor came back from the break, she had no idea that anybody had left. They had then gathered in a single cell and were able to escape that way. And, you know, there are 200 officers out there now. They were talking about high rewards for anybody with any information. They were also talking about protecting witnesses who testified against these inmates, one of whom was actually convicted recently of murder, and they have very grave concerns about the safety of the witnesses in those cases and of the victims in some of these other cases where people are awaiting trial. So Deputy Stephanie Minto-Gibson said that they have been working with victims to try to protect them. We heard Darlene Costanza saying that they're offering big rewards, and so too is the FBI. But again, they even brought up the CFO to talk about the condition of what kind of funding they have, and they say that they just don't have enough to do this maintenance. And then at the end, in a very explosive moment, you heard the sheriff suggest that this was somehow political, that somehow the people escaping now or being allowed to escape was done with the knowledge or coercion or coordination with her political opponents, which was an incredible claim to make, which I tried to ask her about as she was leaving, and she wouldn't take that question. So absolutely explosive here tonight.
You know, David,
we're told there were facility issues, broken locks, low staffing, malfunctioning surveillance, and of course, now everyone's scrambling, holding press conferences, pointing fingers.
So right now, we can't afford a maintenance service contract. We have maintenance staff that are on board that do the day-to-day. But right now, our current budget sits at about $68 million. $41.1 million comes from the city, $13 million comes from the millage, and about $10.1 million a quarter is given to us. Right now, our payroll is about 9.6. Our food expenses is $780,000 a quarter. That eats up the money. We don't have the funding available to have a full maintenance contract to do this. We've explained this on multiple occasions. Just on Monday, we went to the City Planning Commission and we reported this out. We asked for the money to secure this. So the funding is not available to do what needs to be done. So if your conditions are not...
But I want to know this. If you keep asking for more money every year and the conditions still look like a third world dungeon, where is the money going? Let's talk about the drama. At the press conference, Things got heated. The sheriff was grilled by community members and activists. People demanded answers about conditions, mismanagement, and, wait for it, more money. More money? Again? Because every time these jails fail, the solution seems to be throw more taxpayer dollars at the problem. Meanwhile, the facilities are crumbling, officers are quitting, and inmates are escaping through holes in the system. And it's not just Orleans. Fulton County, Georgia. Same story. At least 10 deaths inside that jail just last year. 10. Black mold, inhumane conditions, reports of neglect and abuse. That jail received federal funding too. So again, where is it going? Let's stop pretending this is some isolated issue. Year after year, cities with Democrat leaderships, Orleans Parish, Fulton County, Cook County, receive massive budgets for reform. And yet, the conditions only get worse. We don't have accountability. We have contracts with friends. We have broken buildings and bloated bureaucracies. And we have communities in crisis paying for it all. You want to ask why these conditions exist in our neighborhoods? Because people are getting rich off dysfunction. And every time we ask questions, they tell us to wait or be quiet, or worse, they throw race in our face to shut us up. Well, not today, not this time. These are our communities. Our families live near these jails. We walk these streets. We pay these taxes. We deserve real answers. We deserve clean, secure, properly managed facilities. We deserve leaders who fix problems instead of writing press releases. And if those so-called public servants can't tell us where the money's going, then maybe it's time to stop giving them more. This isn't just about a jailbreak, it's about a break in trust. Because if they can't keep dangerous inmates in, what exactly are they keeping us safe from? Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, share this video, and stay alert. Because if you don't ask the hard questions, they'll keep running off with your money and your safety.